This is the Vamp Junior that we will be using over the next couple of months in both the PICU and the PCICU. It is currently stocked in the supply Pyxis in both units. It has a 3 ml reservoir plunger, 2 stopcocks, and 2 access ports. We have since ordered a different piece that we think will function better for us. It is this extension that has a 5 ml reservoir plunger, 1 stopcock, and 1 access port. The priming and drawing methods are very similar. While we use the 3 ml extension piece and have heparin in the fluids, be mindful of the additional waste that will be needed to have accurate PTT results. I will explain the method after we prime our line. Be mindful of when we spike our fluid bag and using the pressure bag, we need to make sure this air is evacuated so that we don't end up giving any type of air bolus to our patients. So remember, this is all you have to grab from the Pyxis: your transducer set, your extension piece, and your pressure bag. If you have a patient that's less than 10 kilos, you're grabbing your extension piece, your transducer set, but also your primary tubing. The piece that is being replaced with the extension is just the stopcock that we currently use for drawing samples. So this is where you're going to take apart the current transducer line, remove the stopcock, and insert your extension piece. This will allow for us to have a closed system for drawing our samples. This is the same location that you will place either the current 3 ml extension piece or the one that we will be going to that has the 5 ml. The extension piece does need to be held though at a 45-degree angle, upside down, with at least 0.5 mLs in your plunger so that air can escape and be flushed through the system. I often use the packaging from the transducer setup to have a space for my fluid to be pushed through. So you can always flush your system by squeezing the white piece at the transducer itself. Once you see your fluid coming through and that your reservoir plunger air has been expelled, go ahead and push that fluid all the way through. And you want this to be as tight as possible when you are using this setup. So once I push that reservoir plunger closed, I'll flush through one more time. Okay, now that I see that all the air is gone, you can turn it over and connect it to your patient. What I'm going to use is this syringe and stopcock to act as my patient for right now. I still grab a 4x4 to put under my sampling port. You also need to scrub your access port like we do with all of our lines. Scrub for 15 seconds and then you're going to let it dry for 15 seconds. The other thing to be mindful of is that each syringe that you're drawing needs to have its own access cannula device. And go ahead and have them attached, ready to go. Because of the heparin that's within the ABG syringe, I would draw your other samples first. In order to collect your waste in your reservoir plunger, all you have to do is pull back, and you'll see where the 3 mLs collects in the plunger. Be sure then to turn your stopcock so that you are only drawing blood from your patient. This is when you would take your first syringe, push down, it clicks into place, and you can easily pull your sample. Same thing for your ABG syringe. From there, to flush back to your patient, you turn your stopcock parallel, push your volume back to the patient, and then you have to flush this line with either squeezing the port of the transducer, if it's on a pressure bag, or using the syringe for patients that are less than 10 kilos. And then your line is cleared. Be mindful if you have a patient less than 10 kilos and you have the setup on primary tubing through a pump, you also have to have your syringe with enough fluid in it for your shift so that you will be opening your transducer to level and 0 at the start of your shift. By adding a 20 ml syringe, this should be enough fluid to get you through to where you're not opening this closed system more than once in your shift. The other thing to be mindful of, if you are drawing coags or PTT by itself and you are worried about the heparin that's in the line and you don't have enough waste, when we start using our 5 ml syringe, we are hoping that will be sufficient waste. Until then, we will be doing an extra step. We will still pull back all the way to fill your 3 ml syringe. And then just to allow for some extra waste, we will pull back on your syringe. And now also fill all of your coiled tubing. That's usually nicely taped up with pink tape. But that's what we'll do. This will just count as extra assurance that we have enough waste. So then, be sure, and you can use both stopcocks, turn it perpendicular, turn this one perpendicular. Be sure to use this access port that is closest to your patient. Do your scrub and draw your sample to send to the coag lab. And then flush the system just like before. If you have any questions at all, please let myself, Shara Collier, know, or else in the PICU you can talk to Alicia or Julianne.